Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Psychiatric Exile channel. I wanted to record this quick video with my impressions regarding a movie I watched this weekend on Netflix. It's called Leave the World Behind. It's a movie starring Ethan Hawke, Julia Roberts, and Mahershala Ali. It is directed by Sam Ismail, and it's based on a book by Roman Alam. And I found this movie very unsettling, uh, uncomfortable, and deeply sad. I couldn't really pinpoint why while I was watching the movie. I had to sit down and think about it a little bit, and eventually I was able to come up with an explanation. And I wanted to share that and see what you guys thought about it and what your own thoughts are about this movie. So, this movie, it's about an uncanny series of events taking place in the contemporary world where all communications are lost, internet is down, satellites are down, no cable TV, no cell phones, no navigation systems, eventually no power. And there's also uh, an awkward behavior by animals where they are somewhat confrontational against towards people, and also their migration patterns are changing. Once these events begin to take place and people become isolated, the next step is paranoia, and after that, violence towards their neighbors out of self-defense, mistrust, or I'm guessing it's possible some political factions wanted to take advantage of the situation and maybe assert themselves and take power. In fact, that is a significant difference between apparently between the book and the movie, where the movie doesn't really offers an explanation about what's going on, a concrete explanation. The book doesn't offer that explanation, but the movie advances an explanation, uh, proposing that this is all organized precisely by a political faction as a coup d'état, so to depose the government and take power. I think. In that sense, the movie is lesser for that, for advancing a concrete explanation. I think the book is better off. I haven't read the book, but without a concrete explanation, I think the story works much better because it's the uncanny nature of the events that makes them so unsettling. You don't really know what's going on. How are these things connected? And then that's when, in my opinion, the explanation becomes more psychological in nature, symbolic or metaphoric, allegoric, if you will, um, where precisely the reason why the movie is so unsettling is it because it makes us face a feeling of guilt for things that we have ignored so far, and that's the common thread that connects all these events. It's guilt for things that we have done and ignored, and now we are on the day of reckoning, not being able to ignore them anymore, and that brings up that feeling of sadness that I was talking about earlier. So guilt over what? The first thing that we see is race relations, like the white family and the black family do not trust each other. Julia Roberts' character doesn't want to let the black family into their own home. They own the vacation home, and they come back in the middle of the crisis, reaching for safe harbor. But she doesn't feel safe letting this family in, and it's implied that it's at least in part because of their race. On the other side of the coin, the young lady in the black family explicitly tells her father not to trust, that white people should not be trusted that easily. Uh, so we see that once the families become isolated in this little bubble, then all these issues that are generally repressed, ignored, come to the surface. The second issue is when Ethan Hawke's character sees a Hispanic lady on the road asking for help, he leaves her behind. This is a commentary, I think, on not only how migrants are treated, but also class relations, the relation between the people who have and the people who don't have. Um, in third place, at one point in the movie, we see any number of leaflets being dropped by a drone, with what seems to be radical Islam propaganda, kind of blaming the events on a radical Muslim group. And interestingly enough, it is reported that in other parts of the country, the leaflets have a different content, either blaming the North Korean or the Chinese for what's going on. And Kevin Bacon's character says, we've made a lot of enemies all around the world, so maybe some of them banded together to get back at us. So again, guilt over how our foreign policy, coming back to bite us in the butt. The next thing is also guilt about how we've treated the environment. And I think this is why the animals are now exhibiting, inoffensive animals now exhibiting kind of confrontational, borderline aggressive behavior towards people. And what we understand about nature, what's normal, it's unseated, and now we cannot understand what's going on anymore. Well, how nature is behaving anymore. Migration patterns are changed. There's flamingos swimming in the in the pool in upstate New York. So things don't make sense anymore in the natural world. And we also see a feeling of guilt over how the family treats their younger daughter, in the sense of her being ignored, her thoughts not and feelings not being taken seriously. And That's the case until she disappears. And then when she's not there, they are confronted by her absence, the space that she usually occupies. And I think, again, the thread that connects all these events is guilt over the things that we've done wrong and have either failed to address, we've denied them, we've repressed them, and it takes an extraordinary set of events for us to deal with these issues, which are the consequences of everything that we've done over the past few decades or a couple of centuries. Now, what allowed us, or what allowed the people in the film to ignore all these issues? And I think the movie proposes three explanations. The first one is your daily routine, work. We see that in Julia Roberts' character, and how she now, she's gotten to the point that she hates her job, and her job has poisoned how she sees people and the world at large. She's very cynical, and she explicitly says, "I hate people." So even all these things that have allowed these people to ignore the problems that they are now facing are crumbling one by one. She loses that crutch. It's the first crutch she loses very early in the movie. The second one is consumerism. These people are all these characters are uh, pretty rich. They can afford any number of gadgets and vacations and entertainment, and that acts like a drug, numbing down their sensitivity or their perception to depressing issues at hand, depressing issues that are now knocking at their door, uh, refusing to be ignored any longer. And of course, they lose that too when they lose even their basic needs are threatened now. They look electrical power. They are um, accumulating water because they're anticipating that there's going to be a lack of water in the near future. So not only they lose all their luxuries, but even their basic needs are threatened. I should also mention, in terms of the events taking place, there's this strange noise that has no explanation. It's one of the most disturbing things that the characters have to face. It's a noise that's debilitating, and it seems to be starting to affect them physically. I think I connect that with the changes in nature more than anything else. It's the way that I see it, anyways, kind of the cry of the planet, if you will. So I don't see it as something technological or a terror act or anything like that. It kind of it's one of those things that I say it's uncanny because it has no explanation, just like the animal's behavior. Um, so the last thing that allows these characters, that has allowed all these characters to ignore all these issues, is entertainment, the media. And we see this brought up in several different forms. Ethan Hawke's character, it's a professor of media studies. The son is playing video games all the time. The daughter is addicted to TV series, especially older TV series. And when all these things, all these drugs that numb their perception down are taken away, there's no more entertainment, no more luxuries, no more work, then you have to face all the things that um, that you have ignored so far. So I think the movie and the book, in the first place, is more metaphorical than anything else. It's telling us, hey, you have to deal with these issues, and let's create a situation where all these drugs that let you get distracted and ignore all these problems are not there anymore. And let's bring awareness about these issues that need to be dealt with before it's too late, if it's not already too late. And in that sense, it's interesting that the movie ends with the young daughter finding a bunker where people hoarded not only items to fulfill their basic needs, but also a lot of junk food that serves no useful purpose. And she gorges on the junk food, and then she goes and gorges, binges on this whole world of TV series. The first thing that she does is grab for the DVD with the last few episodes of Friends. And you can tell when she's watching the series, her face changes. She goes to a different world. She's not in the crisis anymore. She even looks kind of happily, not only happily disengaged, but completely satisfied. So even in the middle of all these events, once you find a drug to take you away from the crisis, to not think about it, to not deal with it, then there's no chance of dealing with these issues, even in these extreme situations. So, what are our chances of dealing with these issues when we still have all these things distracting us from taking care of what needs to be done? So that's why I found the movie so unsettling and deeply sad. It took me a moment to figure it out, but I think it's all metaphorical. Again, the thread that connects all these events is guilt over these crises that are currently taking place but not being adequately addressed. Let me know what your thoughts are about this movie and what you think about my theory, and I'll see you guys next time.